really stout day of paddling. We've arrived at the crux, and it looks pretty fucked up. Definitely not going to be any way for us to paddle this.
Definitely going back upstream would be terrible. So hopefully we can make it around this and out of this canyon, and it's raining right now. So see how it goes, see how she pans out.
So Ecuador is this spectacular part of the world that is known among most kayakers as one of the best destinations for kayaking. Moisture coming from the Amazon hitting the mountains, it creates the perfect conditions. Everywhere you look, you're gonna find different indigenous groups. I've been all the way around America, north and south, and have not found places so remote and well preserved as these.
Man, I don't really know what it was that first got me hooked on paddling in Ecuador. I guess I just realized how much sick whitewater that the country had to offer, and that inspired me to get out and find new runs.
The first trip that I did down here was led by Abe Herrera, who's pretty much the most knowledgeable paddler in Ecuador. He had been selling us on this unrun Rio Mulatos. It's this river that drops like 7,000 vertical feet in 30 miles. It was just like the perfect river. Who wouldn't want to go check it out?
We were so gung-ho on the first Mulatos trip. There was nothing you could tell us that would convince us that it wasn't going to happen. We put a lot of effort just into getting to the river. Hiked for a full day, but basically as soon as we got to the river, it spiked and we had to go hiking all the way back out for another day, back to our car.
I remember wanting the Mulatos so bad that I was kind of like a horse with blinders on. You know, we'd go to Ecuador, we'd get shut down, usually because of water levels, and then we'd just end up paddling classic stretches of river for the rest of the trip. You know, which wasn't the worst alternative.
Both Todd and Galen started paddling pretty similarly. They were young and extremely fired up. Both really good athletes. They just wanted to just jump into the sport right away and get really good, which they did, but they had to take their licks along the way. And I was fortunately there to watch both Todd and Galen take some pretty spectacular crashes and also style some amazingly hard rapids. And it was just a wild ride being there for, I was there with Todd, watching him run his first 80-footer, Mulatos Falls, and I did a big trip with Galen into Mexico where we ran multiple huge waterfalls, and he ended up running Big Banana Falls at the end of that trip. And he should have been in high school, and instead he was bailed out of high school to come on this Mexican odyssey. Yeah, the big waterfalls, it's a young man's game. I mean, everybody I feel like has that point in their kayaking that they just want to go big and they want to get these spectacular photographs and videos of them bombing these amazing waterfalls. But in the end, after you experience some injury and some time off the water and you get more depth in the sport, you realize that that's not really where the magic lies. The magic is about exploring and about kind of discovering these new rivers and those experiences that come along with that. Seeing both Galen and Todd go from these, giant waterfall hucks and kind of like this park and huck mentality to growing into these paddlers that are chasing first ascents around the world. It's kind of the natural progression, but I'm really happy to see those guys just pushing it and getting out there.
Scott Lindgren is this old school legendary expedition kayaker, and I became pretty good friends with him, and in 2017, when Todd and I were going down to the Mulatos, he decided to come with us.
When we got down to Ecuador, the main objective was the Mulatos. We started to take a really close look at the topos and pretty quickly realized that a huge chunk of the river was completely off the scale in pretty much an impenetrable gorge.
So finally, we just kind of gave up on it. You know, closing that door actually felt pretty good. It opened our eyes as to what other unrun rivers might be, you know, here throughout the rest of Ecuador, and it allowed us to just enjoy the time that we had right then and there in this really spectacular part of the world.
Yeah, we drove further and further south looking for new rivers. You know, we paddled some decent runs, but honestly we weren't really finding what we had set out to accomplish. Water levels were either too low or too high, and it seemed like dams are being constructed on every major river in the south of Ecuador.
One of the things I've always done when I cruise into a new zone is, if it's possible, I like to get in the air. It solves so many problems. And so we get into Mulatos, there's an airport. It didn't take long to realize that we could actually get up in the air and go scout the neighborhood, and we took a flight.
Yeah, yesterday's scout flight was sick. We were able to determine a ton about the rivers around this area. Discovered 3 rivers that are definitely runnable. They're big and stout, but they're sick. At the end of the day, we were trying to look at one last river, and before long, our pilot was flying us right into the white room, right through these clouds, and it was scaring us all. We were all gripped and telling the pilot to get the fuck out of the clouds, and it was a little sketchy.
Not used to flying through clouds, especially in the third world. In a plane that's fucking pretty much done up in the 50s.
We came back buzzing from that flight and buzzing from what we had just found. So yeah, we're alive today, and we're gonna fly back up to the Rio Coangos and try to do the first descent all the way down to the Rio Santiago. Should be a sick trip.
Get comfortable, Ed. So.
Ok, buen viaje.
Muchas gracias. Gracias por todo.
We just landed on the headwaters of the Coangos River. This is Shuar community. It's like the only access here is by foot, a couple days by foot or on a plane. And we got the easiest ride.
Servidos.
It's really nice.
¿Qué tal, amigo? ¿Qué tal,
¿Qué hay?
¿Cómo está, Capi?
Buenos días, ¿cómo
¿Cómo está? Arturo.
Arriving to that small little Shuar village at the headwaters of the Coangos was this incredible culture shock. This crowd of locals gathered around the plane as we unloaded our kayaks, and everyone seemed very surprised by us and very curious about what we were doing up there. The pilot, he had these bags of treats that he was passing out to all the kids. Pretty soon though, he did pack it up and fly off back to Mulatos to pick up Galen and Scott. As Abe and I were chilling there, talking and getting to know the local people, you know, for the most part it seemed to be smiles all around. Eventually though, Abe did become involved in these more serious and seemingly concerning conversations.
veces cortacabezas. Entonces la gente está experta, pueden bajar, pueden pasar.
Pero si la gente, la comunidad no nos ayuda, no tenemos ni voz ni voto. Porque la comunidad es la única, la comunidad propia de cada río es la única que puede crear, que puede tener la fuerza para decir, no, no queremos eso. Ustedes son los únicos dueños de esto, no, nadie puede venir. Y yo sí entiendo lo que me dice que tenemos que pedir permiso y todo, y no hay ningún problema con eso, porque debe ser, porque si es que ustedes no cuidan, nadie va a cuidar. Eso es lo que pasa allá.
Amigo, eso es lo que hoy vas a explicar.
En el río.
Claro, usted va a explicar sobre por qué caminan, porque conservación de bosques y conservación de aguas, son aguas no contaminadas.
When Scott and I first landed at that little airstrip, I was so fired up, man. Like, after all we had been through, we were finally heading out for a sick first descent. Abe comes up and he tells us that there's a community meeting that we had to go to, you know, just like talk things over. I didn't think much of it at first, but I heard some concern in Abe's voice, and that definitely put a bit of a damper on that initial excitement that I was, you know, as I felt as I walked out of the airplane.
They're waiting for us, they're expecting us down here. They're having a whole meeting, community meeting on Sunday, and we just happened to show up, so it's, but everything seems to be okay.
Buenas tardes, permisito.
Existe totalmente aquí, a veces palabras falsas vienen, y viene un cortacabezas, está un poco delicada esta asociación. Y quiero enfocar a ustedes que llegaron 4 marineros que llegaron, navegables, que hoy primera vez que llegaron.
Señores, ¿qué documento vienen? ¿Con qué documento están aquí? El documento, primer base, el documento necesitamos.
La primera razón por la que vinimos no es simplemente solo por pasear. Lo que hacemos nosotros, y les voy a comentar muy brevemente, lo que hacemos nosotros es ayudar a conservar ríos intactos, para evitar minería y evitar represas y evitar que la destrucción de la naturaleza. Disculpas de que no pedimos permiso antes de venir.
No tenemos ningún documento aquí. No se puede dar permiso porque eso es ilegal. Así es. Deben respetar ustedes nuestro reglamento, nuestro estatuto.
I was told they were gonna pass the word down to other villages and let them know we're coming through so we don't get our heads shrunk, but it sounds like when we got in there that it was a crazy atmosphere. There were some people that were really angry about us being here and did not want us to pass.
We didn't have a permit, so they're trying to figure out how to make a permit because they've never really done anything like this before. So yeah, we're facing some interesting problems, an interesting scenario, but right now Abe is talking with the chief of the village and they're trying to talk to the president of the Shuar community in this area and get permission for us to pass down the Rio Coangos. So a little bit of a project, but I think we're making some headway. I can hear some feedback on the radio, so we're really hoping we can just find an agreement with these guys, maybe pay them some money, write up a permit, do whatever we need to do, and go paddle this amazing river.
It was kind of a bummer, but in retrospect, we were allowed such a cool perspective into the Shuar culture. These people of the Coangos were just so different and, you know, much more disconnected than any group I had ever been around.
Eso.
Abe spent a lot of time communicating over the radio, so the rest of us, we just settled in and did what we could to enjoy the afternoon. We played soccer, built a swing for the kids, and at one point I think Scott was even giving English lessons to the youngsters.
How are you? How are you?
How are you?
How are you? How are you?
We spent the night there in our hammocks, and when we woke up the next morning, it was pretty clear that we would not be granted any sort of permit to paddle the Coangos.
Kind of a tricky situation, you know, like you don't want to blow up what they got going on here, and to keep big mining and to keep hydro out of here and to keep logging out of here. They're willing to cut your head off and boil it in hot water, and can't blame them for that. It's pretty downright respectful. So
no, these guys are agree, yeah, and then they're saying like, we don't want you guys to get in any trouble with the communities down there. Totally. Because if anything happens to you, then it was gonna be our responsibility because we let you go.
Listening to the radio over the last 24 hours has been anything but encouraging. It's been incredibly discouraging, basically just threatening us with shotguns and arrows. So I personally would like to choose the path of least resistance.
Yeah, who knows, maybe they're just like fronting, dude. They might be bullshitting.
Maybe.
When we had to bail and fly back overseeing this river, it was heartbreaking to see this river that it looks beautiful and really good to go.
That was it for me. I didn't have any animosity towards them. I actually had a lot of respect. I get what they're trying to protect, and you know, the Amazon is under attack at the moment. If it means keeping all foreign entities out to protect the Amazon, then so be it.
Just to the south, towards the Peruvian border, there was a big mine tearing up into the Cordillera del Condor, creating a lot of pollution into the rivers. And this is where I began to put the dots together and see the connection between the hydroelectric projects that are being built and the developing of the gold and copper mining that is happening all around. I just felt sick and tired of it and wanted to go back home to run some free-flowing and clean rivers around home, around Baeza.
I just think at that point, you know, Abe and I were over it, and Galen and Todd were still fired up to try to send something down there, and that's when we kind of separated and went our different ways.
We are in a taxi on the way to the put-in of Rio Zamora, right below Guayaquil. Almost there. Looks like got a good 3 or 4 days, who really knows how long, ahead of us, and looks like some big water goodness.
And yeah, we're gonna put on for probably a 3-day paddle, hopefully 3-day paddle, down to Santiago, the Rio Santiago, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. As far as we know, no one's done it before, so should be a good trip today.
criminal mind, shifty cat. Swift with the 9 through a 5950 hat. Gift with the grind, criminal mind, shifty cat. Swift with the 9 through a 5950 hat. Like gift with the grind, criminal mind, shifty cat. Swift with the 9 through a 5950 hat. Gift with the grind, criminal mind, shifty cat. Swift with the 9 through a 5950 hat.
You know, Todd has been a huge influence on me over the years. When we first met up, we just didn't click, and off the river there was kind of a barrier between us.
For a long time, I really struggled to establish trust with Galen. Maybe it was just that he had this reputation as a loose cannon. But you know, sometimes I would get beta from him and not really know if following him down the line he just took was the best idea.
We paddled a bit together, and over time we paddled more and more, and as we really started paddling together a lot, broke those barriers down, and we became pretty close friends.
As I gave him my trust on the water, that also allowed me to get to know him just as a friend.
When he discovers a river and puts his mind to it, he'll stop at pretty much nothing to paddle it. People with that kind of drive are just like people who are getting stuff done and running the coolest whitewater in the world.
This kid is such a talented and passionate kayaker. That alone gives me a ton of respect for him. But when you really get to know this dude, you realize there's a lot more to Galen than what meets the surface.
Within this really driven person, Todd carries a lot of weight on his shoulders and sometimes just can't be satisfied with right here and now or what's in front of him.
Sometimes I would find Galen just sitting on the side of the river meditating. Seeing that kind of helped me find this inner peace in myself that was kind of missing from my life.
You know, I can tell that kayaking is like, just the love for kayaking is what drives him, you know, and that's what's all behind it in the end.
We finally made it. It's absolutely beautiful, and we got a huge, powerful brown river to drop into today and paddle down. Burning off some fog right now, about to eat our breakfast skillets. Couldn't be in a better place right now. Day 2 at lunchtime. So far today the whitewater has been real big. Had one good beat down already so far. I thought about swimming on my last beat down, but I saw that you could get out of the hole on river right and eventually worked my way over there.
I came over the lip and saw Galen right in the meat of this hole getting beat down.
Damn it, Junior.
That was a little bit scary because I had this, split-second vision of one, if not both of us swimming, and that's kind of like the worst case scenario out here. So yeah, a little bit of a wake-up call today, but we have been able to paddle some super sick whitewater. This river's out of this world incredible, and I think these next rapids are going to be pretty all-time and fired up. Yeah, this is the first rapid of the 10-mile section below the bridge, kind of the crux section. It's big, but it goes for sure. Another stout one just downstream here. It'll go. Yeah, this one's the big one. Here we go. Kill him.
I was in the airplane, I thought the river would be small. I was kind of worried it wouldn't be like, very exciting. I just got my ass handed to me in probably the biggest hole I've ever been in my life. Definitely feeling the adrenaline here. Stout day of paddling. We've arrived at the crux and it looks pretty fucked up. Definitely not going to be any way for us to paddle this. So right now we just got to look at a way to portage around it. Here we go. Shit's fucking committing right now. We're in it to win it. Definitely going back upstream would be terrible. So hopefully we can make it around this and out of this canyon, and it's raining right now. So see how it goes, see how she pans out.
All right, it is 6:45 in the morning. Galen and I are all packed up and geared up, and we're heading down to the Crux Rapid right now. Galen's gonna paddle down and take a look at the kind of bottom half of this crux and see if we can make our way downstream. I'm gonna stay up top with a rope so that I can help him get back upstream in case we can't go down. So we're kind of looking at two options now. Either it's gonna be clear down there and we continue paddling down through the crux and around the corner, or it's no good and we pack up our boats and start hiking 5 miles upstream along the river to the bridge that we passed yesterday. So that's what we got going on. It's a little daunting, but it's kind of all we got to do right now, and we're in high spirits, so all's well. Yeah.
So here's the big rock that we saw from the airplane. We couldn't see the river right bank, which is pretty covered in fucking rocks all the way around. It's quite paddleable as well. I think we can run a lot of this bottom stuff. We can sneak right over there and not have to do a lot of this walking. I am pretty sure that is the waterfall, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's around the bend, but it looks like we can definitely stay on rocks all the way around that corner there and make it out. Yeah, I fucking think it's flat. I fucking really do. I could keep going. I'm kind of cliffed out. Woo! That right there, folks. And that flat water right there, it's a taste of victory. It's like I just done chewed a thistle. We getting through this. No hacking out. Church. I was just like walking this morning down doing this portage, and it started burning on like the back of my thighs to my ankle, and I really don't have like any welts or anything, and then it kind of started moving up on my arms and in my chest area, and I don't know what it is, if I got into like some fire ants that were like micro fire ants that I couldn't see, or like just some poison ivy kind of shit or something, or I don't know, but woo, it fucking burns. It really burns. So hopefully this Benadryl helps, and yeah. Ow.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, totally, man.
All right, here we go. We get to finally paddle pack up camp and keep moving downstream. Fucking happy about that. What? Like that?
Yeah, like that. I got you, dog.
Pretty fucked up hole right there. Glad there's an easy portage route right around it. Good runnable whitewater downstream, and hopefully we don't have to do any more stout portages, but yeah, the end is in sight. Should be good. Dog. I think we're pretty much at the bottom of the Zamora Canyon right now, but Galen and I can both agree that that's definitely the biggest first ascent either of us has done, and probably the biggest whitewater we've ever paddled too, so shit was sick.
Victory, man. I've never been so happy to see flat water in my life. I loved every bit of that whitewater in there, but when you don't know what's around the corner, man, it's definitely a relief to know that it's not going to be as big as what we did the last 2 days. So, yeah, man. Zamora Canyon.
Yeah, stoked.
Gangsta shit.
We are on the Rio Santiago right now, paddling out through some flat water, and it is super scenic. Just everything is beautiful. I mean, just look at that. Are you kidding me? Freaking gorgeous out here. Buenas. ¿Dónde vas? ¿Dónde? No sé dónde está. ¿Podemos ir con usted? ¿En serio? Muchas gracias.
¿De dónde viene?
En Gualaquiza. Estuvimos en el río Zamora.
Zamora, oh.
Listo.
Acá.
¿Ya?
Hola. Buenos días. Yeah.
Change of events here, but you know, you just got to take these good opportunities when they arise. So we're on a motorboat. We're rallying upstream on the Rio Santiago, and I think we're gonna get dropped off close to the road, which is what we're looking for. But we're right at the confluence now, going back past the Zamora. Here it is. Zamora, Santiago. Gracias. Aquí es solo que tenemos, pero muy amable. Ok. ¿Cómo se llama?
Carlos.
Carlos.
Mucho gusto.
Mucho gusto, Carlos. So Galen's legs are so fucked up from whatever plant or bug or whatever he got into. The only thing he can do to alleviate the pain is pour water on it or go swimming. So that's what he's doing right now. Other than the flesh-eating shit that Junior has going on, all is well. We're waiting here for a bus. Hopefully they have room for 2 green dagger mambas. But yeah, it's been a great trip. Rio Zamora was incredible. Super fun.
Crazy in there. Jungle is stronger than we are. That's for sure. All I can do is hope that I'll let you get through it.
Best of all though, found ourselves some cervezas and a Pepsi for Galen who's on antibiotics. But I get to drink beer.
Living clean and loving Jesus.